Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Gaming Daddy channel. So today I wanted to talk about something that I feel we're probably going to be seeing a good amount of very soon. And that's something that's going to crop up in light of the release of Ghost of Tsushima right now. So if you guys are paying attention, and I kind of am, it used to be that Ghost of Tsushima was going to be judged in the light and the shadow, or whatever you want to call it, of Assassin's Creed games. And, Assassin's Creed games, we're talking of whichever one you want to pick. A lot of people have said Ghost of Tsushima feels like the old Assassin's Creed games, or there are some aspects of the new Assassin's Creed games that you can get with Ghost of Tsushima. However you want to look at it, Ghost of Tsushima right now is starting to gain very serious traction. I made a video just, a day ago talking about the Metacritic scores. Metacritic scores, sorry, are now about 9.1, which is the same as God of War on the user side. The critic side, it seems like there is no context for the critics. I think there's just a lot of lethargic, I would say, positions of a lot of the critics towards the game. And so that's how I just judge it. I know it might be that there is some valid, criticisms there, but I think critics have just basically lost a lot of credibility in the past few months. And so we're just going to go with the user score because that's where gamers kind of stand. And, we're the majority. We're the ones bringing in the most amount of money. Critics, in many cases, got a free copy of the game. So it's a very different experience for both parties, if you get what I mean. So there really is a dividing line when you look at it that way. But what's happening is this traction of Ghost of Tsushima is gaining. Seems like it's about to turn the tide. And when I mean turn the tide, I mean it seems like Assassin's Creed is probably or most likely going to be judged in light of Ghost of Tsushima. Now, Assassin's Creed Valhalla is set to be released in November of 2020. Now, I am going to be playing it, and to be very honest with you, I'm kind of concerned as to how Ghost of Tsushima has represented what it's wanting to put in the forefront more than anything else. So let's look at some aspects of the criticism. Okay, so take it as one of the biggest criticisms of Assassin's Creed is recycled content that's put in substandard graphics and all that stuff. Now, the second part of that, I have to disagree with. Substandard graphics, we got to throw it out the window. I play on PC, and you can play Assassin's Creed up to 70, in some cases 80 something frames per second on my computer. If I optimize it well, I may be able to get close to 100 frames. There is no substandard graphics when I'm looking at 100 FPS Assassin's Creed open world. It just is not the case. But when you say recycled, I think that might be a valid criticism in that case. I mean, it's a very valid position, because if you look at the way mechanics work from Origins to Odyssey, and you look at even what we saw with some mechanics in Valhalla, then you can see that there is a level of similarity. But does it really mean it's been sort of recycled? You can argue that up to an extent, but you have to give it to Ubisoft for open world creation and a whole lot of other things that they do. But guess what's going on? Assassin's Creed is one of these games that tries to dive into so many things, when in reality, if they can hone down one thing that makes the game unique, I think the game would have been able to stand out, or I think it will be able to stand out when, the barrage of comparisons and criticisms are going to come in November. So let me point this out to you guys. So Ghost of Tsushima has basically centralized combat as its major fine focus. There are a lot of criticisms about the story, whether it's up to par or not up to par. I think the story is an 8 out of 10. A lot of the people talking about the story, I heard Skill Up, Jim Impressions, ACG all say that the story and the character was kind of meh. I don't know what these guys are all talking about, but they have not watched their good volume of, Eastern movies. If you watch a lot of Eastern movies, this game is pretty much on par with Eastern movie production, writing, I would even say direction, because there are a lot of things that move on the movie narrative side, and a lot of the other aspects that you can actually count along with it. But that's a whole different discussion. But looking at the combat, they fine-tuned, honed down, and harnessed what Ghost of Tsushima should be: a samurai game that makes you feel like a samurai. Yes, a samurai has many other aspects. Does that make sense? but then you have different, values, code, honor, all those things. But then this samurai is not an ordinary samurai. This is a samurai that is going through a conundrum and embracing a new world, and is now adopting things combat wise, by the way. I mean, value wise, he is, but then combat wise, he's adopting things that do not go in line with the samurai code, which means he's becoming a much more diverse, lethal killing machine. And he is adopting what will most likely, come out to be ninjutsu. For those of you who know you're fighting on the eastern side of things, you know what I'm talking about. A samurai and a ninja are two different warriors. The way they fight, the code that they follow, and how they go about achieving their goals. I know this is going to probably spoil something for you guys, but until you play the game, you're not going to really understand what I'm saying. But what Ghost of Tsushima tried to do is it tried to fuse that conundrum together, both in value, in story, and in combat. But combat, being the finest part of it, stands out. Assassin's Creed Valhalla has to be able to bring something to light to be able to meet up or keep up. If not, the big judgment people are going to throw at us on Assassin's Creed is, Assassin's Creed is just kind of a substandard Ghost of Tsushima game. I don't want that to happen, and I will be playing Assassin's Creed. Don't get me wrong. I feel like there are strong points of Assassin's Creed that Ghost of Tsushima doesn't have. But with Assassin's Creed Valhalla, we're going to have to see what that looks like. With Odyssey, I can say that Odyssey has the best and the most lively characters that you will see in many open world games. Some people argue that it's Origins. It's a good thing. 2 games having a bunch of good characters. And then Ghost of Tsushima, a lot of people are saying, well, the characters don't seem to be really, fun and all that. Well, it's a different culture. You know what I mean? When you're going to write, in a context and try to stay as accurately or as realistically as possible, you have to embrace everything that comes with it. So for authenticity, Ghost of Tsushima does a good job. For fun and engaging characters, Assassin's Creed does a very good job as well. For open world design, historicity, a lot of the things that you will see in these games that are set in ancient times or antiquity or whenever the era was, I think both games are doing a good job. But like I said, because Ghost of Tsushima has fine-tuned an aspect of its own gameplay and its own, its own thing, which is fighting, it's going to be very hard for Assassin's Creed to be able to combat this if it comes in with all this so many things to do kind of, approach. But like I said, it seems like we have to just wait and see. But from what we've seen, yeah, we're going to have a huge argument in the gaming community on our hands. Now, for some people, it's not going to be a big argument, but for people like me who would be happy to enjoy both games, I can say for sure that, there'll be a conundrum. But the good thing that Assassin's Creed has on its own hand and the good thing it has on its side is eventually the trend for Ghost of Tsushima is going to eventually go down. It's going to finally fizzle out, and we're going to be seeing a whole bunch of other games. August is coming. The DC fandom is coming. We're hopefully going to be seeing something from DC Games and a few other studios. September brings Avengers, and then November is going to be bringing Cyberpunk 2077. So with all that, hoopla in the air, Ghost of Tsushima will probably have faded a little bit, but at the same time, it's not going to excuse Assassin's Creed if Assassin's Creed Valhalla does not bring everything it has to the table. So that's basically my thoughts on all of this. I'm enjoying Ghost of Tsushima nonetheless. I begrudgingly am starting to admit how better in many cases Ghost of Tsushima is to past Assassin's Creed games. I still think there are aspects of those Assassin's Creed games that are better than Ghost of Tsushima, but I played the games for action, and Ghost of Tsushima has delivered that action on a very strong level. I hope Valhalla is able to get something, really fine done and, finesse some of the things that players are expecting and do them very well. Maybe story, maybe open world, maybe exploration, maybe encounters, I guess we're yet to see, but we'll see how it goes, man. I mean, I'm just a little shaken. I guess that's how I'm going to put it. We're saying in vernacular, man, I'm shook as to how good Ghost of Tsushima is. And I'm a little concerned for Ubisoft. I've been seeing comments from many of you saying Ubisoft is probably peeing their pants right now. I wouldn't go that far, but, it is impressive that a game that's been in development for so many years is coming out and it's competing with another game that has had so many years to refine its art. So Sucker Punch needs to, pat themselves on the back, and we'll see how this all goes. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate you guys so much. Hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel, and I guess I'll see you all hopefully in the next one. Peace.